everyone, welcome back into another episode of T&J Sports Podcast. This is Drizzy. Tstalls is here, and we're going to go over Kentucky and Louisville basketball, football recruiting. We got NFL playoffs coming up this weekend. Got a lot to digest here, so we'll jump right into it. Tstalls, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Got a lot of excitement around one athletic program, and hopefully another program will start doing better. But overall, man, I'm happy. I'm healthy. Here for another day. So glad to do this episode with you.
Yeah, I'm glad to do this one. Might be the last episode I record before the baby number 2 gets here, so we will see.
All
right,
so we gotta stay positive for the baby. Then we gotta stay positive for her.
Exactly. We'll stay positive. Wow. We'll be positive.
Yeah.
So, first off, I'll just go ahead. I'll start off with some Kentucky football news. So Liam Cohen is back as OC. Contract that was signed on 12/12. So all that talk, wait until the end of the season to figure stuff out. The man was already taking another job before the end of the year with the Rams. So that's good news, getting him back on top of everyone else we brought in. J.J. Weaver came back for the linebacker room, which is good. And then Tavion Robinson, wide receiver, he transferred in last year from Virginia Tech. Started out the year very strong. He got injured. Levis got injured. That's kind of where the season kind of got derailed a little bit, but he's coming back for another year. So he's another super senior. So we'll got a good vibe going on with football with the guys they brought in. I know we've also got a 5-star defensive lineman transfer from North Carolina. There's Keyshawn Silver. So good news on the football front. Unlike the basketball front, coming off last night, losing at home to South Carolina, something that just doesn't happen, shouldn't happen. Fun fact, the last 2 times that that South Carolina has come in and beat Kentucky at home, we've had a new coach the next year, so take with that as what you want. But I mean, it is what it is. It's inexcusable to lose that way. Inexcusable that we've still got Oscar calling out guys for not wanting to be tough, and he's saying he said in his post, yeah, exactly. He said in his post game, don't put these guys in if they're not going to fight. Put the walk-ons in, and if they're going to play harder. So I mean, I just don't understand.
That's so true, though. I mean, you want that from your senior leader and player of the year. Like you want that from him to be mad and like, no, if these dudes ain't going to come with a dog in them, do not play them. Like you already know, I've been saying Louisville needs that kind of person, but man, for Oscar to do that, I believe he's tried it multiple ways too. Like he did with a more common factor by saying, Cal needs to be more positive to the guys, and that's going to get more out of them. He went from that to no, don't put them in. Put only the dogs in. Put the walk in, and that's wild, man. That's wild.
I mean, he's trying everything. I think Cal is trying everything. I don't understand. Like, what more do you need to get up and play at that game? You're at a great place to play. It's very tough to play at, I'll tell you that. There's a lot of expectations every year, even in years where you could kind of see that we would be a little bit down and aren't, going in number 1 in the nation or whatnot. It's still tough because there's still expectations to go along with that. But I mean, your whole life's going to be filled with expectations. And if you can't, get past the pressure and you can't get up to play a basketball game, I mean, I don't even know why you're there. You're there to go to the pros, but if you can't get up to play a Tuesday night game against South Carolina, then how are you going to get up, to play a Tuesday night game against the Pistons or whatever? I mean, like, if that's what you want your job to be, then you got to act like it.
I mean, this ain't your typical team either. My bad to cut you off, but I was going to say this ain't your typical A team, and I mean that as in you're usually stacked full of like 5-star freshmen, and that's usually Cal's go-to. These are young guys, and I believe he did use that once or twice. He did say we have some young guys, but I think he's talking about individual play. But you have some older guys on this team: Jacob Toppin, senior; Oscar Sheway, senior; Shavir Wheeler, senior.
Antonio Reeves is a senior, graduate senior.
TJ Frederick. I mean, you have like seniors on this team. Like you just said, they should come in here ready to fight, not not playing this lackluster offense and defense and no excitement. Playing at home, man. Rupp Arena's. I mean, I know I don't I don't like because I'm a Louisville fan, but I mean, I gotta give respect where respect is due. They have one heck of a crowd, and I mean,
I
it's
mean,
a breaking point.
from the inside perspective, when the game is good, when the
Mhm.
opponent's good, the crowd is good.
Yeah.
Like, but I will say, I mean, like it is very. It's not. It does kind of get a really silent in there when it comes down to what is it? When it comes down to those smaller teams, like
Hmm.
like in the early season against like Mount St. Mary's or whatnot, like
Yeah.
those games, it's not full. It doesn't get loud. I mean, a big problem with your atmosphere there is you got. I mean, it's full of a bunch of old people down low. No offense to the old people, but y'all don't. I mean, it's past your bedtime. You shouldn't even be there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you can do that. Go to the Louisville game and see that. I mean, it's kind of. I guess that's who is feeding the money, and it's mostly some of it's alumni that are down there. They just they've been here since the '80s, the Denny Crum ages. They're used to that excitement and seeing that fun basketball play from Denny Crum to Rick Pitino, even Mac for a little bit of his tenure. To now, it's just like, man, this the crowd great parts during the season, even when we're losing. But when you look at the crowd at Kentucky, is the older crowd, and I mean that's who's funding most of the stuff. So it's like can't really say don't come to the games, but you can definitely say, hey, if you're here, we want to hear you, not yelling at the players. I know that's part of it, but cheer, cheer. You have to find something to cheer. You can't just beat these guys down player wise, and you definitely can't just beat down Cal because Cal's just gonna hear cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. He's not gonna listen to you. Like he's hearing money and he's looking at his players. He's not worried about you. The guy's been in this profession long enough to know not to listen to his fans. I mean, he even say it all the time in interviews. He's like, don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at my players because one, he can take it. He doesn't care what you have to say. He knows he's going to get money and he knows he's going to stay on. But the players, they hear you getting mad or don't hear you at all. That's definitely a big psychological factor into their play. So, I mean, fans need to understand that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I was hearing the crowd last night. The crowd got into it. They made that run at the end, cut it to one. I mean, there's also injuries last night. I mean, you don't want to, at this point, everyone's like, the injury excuse doesn't matter. Like, I mean, when Hassan Wallace is your best guy, I'm not, Oscar's great, but
Mm-hmm.
the offense needs to run through a guard, and that guard needs to be Hassan. And if he was out with back spasms, he went out in the middle of the game. I mean, like he went out in the first half. At that point, like, yeah, you're playing guys that haven't been playing as much. Toppin was already out. He's been decent. I mean, he had that run against Louisville and LSU.
Mm-hmm.
I was sick over the weekend, so I didn't get to see the Alabama game. I have no clue. I guess luckily because it wasn't a good game. But I mean,
Yeah.
he got injured in that game. So I mean, the energy wasn't there. I mean, but the guys fought. At this point, I'm trying to stay positive. There's no point in getting mad over this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't foresee Cal leaving. There's rumors of Texas. He denied it. Texas denied it. But that's what you do. You just deny everything until it comes to light. Do I think
What
he
I got
leaves?
to ask you though, I got to ask you. We talked about it already, but I want everybody else to hear your thoughts on it because I mean, it's huge. You have a fan come in with a sign saying, pretty much go to Texas or, you know,
Please go to Texas.
please go to Texas is what the sign read. And of course, the blue coats came down and told him he had to leave. But that says a lot about where the fan base is right now. And if you look at Kentucky's record compared to Louisville's record, you think you'll see that a lot more at Louisville. But I mean, I understand when you get what you get with Cal, like recruit wise and the excitement around the program. I understand how your record is not good enough for what the fans want. 10-6 is not good enough, and I mean that
Ten and
says a
six,
lot.
1-3 in the SEC, first time since I think like 86, 87.
Yeah.
It's uncharted territory. I mean, for me, definitely, I've never been that bad in my whole life starting the league. But I mean, the league's also deeper now. South Carolina, no, but I mean, you lost to Alabama. That's a that's a Final Four team. Uh,
LSU was a close one.
LSU is a close. one, and LSU, I believe, beat Alabama or Arkansas, I believe, who was also a Final Four team in my eyes.
Yeah,
Or
they're
could
playing right
be.
now, actually. Alabama and Arkansas almost had a fight already. So, I
Yeah.
mean, the SEC is full of tough teams. It can't just be UK getting 5 stars in playing against, 2 and 3 stars. No, there's other coaches in there that know what they're doing. And Oates and Musselman, they know what they're doing. So
Mm-hmm.
Cal's going to have to revamp his game, just like Kenny Payne's going to have to revamp his game. And I'll go into what I mean by he's revamped his ways in a little bit, or at least he made it more known that he's up with the times.
Yeah, Cal's getting back to his ways. Look at the next year's recruiting class. That's back to his typical ways. The
Definitely.
point I want to make is, and I was talking about this today, and I've been thinking about it for a while. Us fans asked for years when we asked for years to get a few more guys that stayed a while. We want some older guys to stick around a little bit. You know, this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
We got what we wanted. Everything that's built around this team is we got what we wanted. We wanted older guys that stuck around, more experienced team, stuff like that. Uh, we got what we wanted, and this is it.
Yeah.
Like the thing with Cal's philosophy and his style of play, it works with guys who have amazing talent
Mm-hmm.
that can get honed in and developed quickly into and and roll the ball out there. But in a way that's it's an NBA style offense of just ISOs and ball movement and moving off the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Once he gets back to that, I think next year is just going to be so much better. And I think he'll be back, and I don't want him to leave because honestly, it's going to be worse for the next 2-3 years. All we got to do is just look at Louisville, not taking a shot, but
No,
just
no.
looking at it. That's what he leaves this year. That recruiting class is gone. Who you going to get? You can't get Nate Oates from Bama. You're not going to get Musselman from Arkansas. I don't see as there's anyone else out there that immediately could change the face of your program.
In a
And I
positive.
don't trust Mitch Barnhart to make that right hire because he hired Gillespie, so that's awful. And
Yeah.
he hired Joker. He let Joker Phillips take over football. So it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long season. There's still time to turn it around. So I hope so. They can get a little bit healthier and move on with it. So I'm going to stay positive for it and just hope that that's what happens.
Yeah.
But
You gotta stay. But I mean, I guess going to Louisville basketball, to piggyback off what you were saying and kind of talk on it, you were saying you got what you wanted in senior play, a little older play, more veteran play. You got what you wanted, but that offensive style is for freak athletes, and that can only take you so far. That basketball player has to be. I mean, you can't have John Walls every year. You can't have a DeMarcus Cousins who's going to beat you up down low. You can't have a freak athlete and Anthony Davis every year. You can't have that. So speaking on Louisville, we have exactly what you all have. Well, not talent wise, but age wise. We have those older guys. We have a senior point guard in L. Ellis. We have a senior big man in Sidney Curry. We have a young but older guy in JJ Trainer, Jalen Withers, which, their play hasn't
Huntley Hatfield,
only
he played on
Hatfield. It's
a
just,
great Tennessee team last year.
yeah, this is supposed to be his freshman year. I mean, when you look at it, he was really, a class of 22 guy, but he jumped up in 21, went to Tennessee, like you just said, and then now he's at Louisville. So, like, you have a year under your belt. And you did play well last year with Tennessee. Of course, you didn't play much or go crazy, but that was development, man. You should be better. You should be ready to ball out now. You have a year of college basketball, which should have been your senior year. But what I was going to say is the play style that we got. If I would have thought about it more honestly, I would just hype to have Kenny Payne back, and I was thinking about, oh man, we're going to get recruits. And, that's what we wanted. And then I didn't think about the whole scale of everything. Kenny Payne, who did he coach under? He coached under Cal. So where is his defensive and offensive philosophy going to come from? Cal. Then he went to the NBA during one of the most crucial points in college basketball, or college athletics, NIL. This man left during that key time to learn the new way of doing things and how to recruit these guys. He recruited in the old athletic way, in the old college athletic way, by just telling them, hey, I'm going to get you to that next level to where you make millions. I'm going to be there by your side all 4 years, all 3 years, all 2 years, however long you need to be here. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to make sure you develop each year, each month, each game. Now it's not about that anymore. These kids want to make money. And he said early in the press conference before he started, kind of tie in what I said earlier too. He said, when I talk to recruit, if he asks me about NIL money, I'm not going to discuss that with you. I'm here to discuss why you need to come to Louisville to develop your game to be the next, best you. Not the best John Wall, not the best Russ Smith, Peyton Siva, Louisville legends. I want you to be the best you, whoever you are, whether it's Mike James or Fabio Vasili, who's now with us. But I want you to be the best you. You can't do that anymore. You got to tell these players, I'm gonna make the best you while you're making money. And he kind of did that this week. He never was he never came out and said, I'm against NIL. I don't think it's right. Kind of like your boy from Clemson said, Dabo Sweeney. He never said he was against NIL. He just said, I'm not going to discuss that with you. I'm a basketball coach. I'm going to develop you into a basketball player. I'm not going to develop you into a businessman to make money, pretty much. But this week, he came out with the 502 circle. He had a little video that came out. Go check it on our social media. We retweeted it from the Louisville Update and Louisville Basketball. But, he put in there, he supports it. He needs our fans' help. You can get a membership with it. I believe it ties you into buying T-shirts that the players have, kind of get their more money up. So these other players that are in high school now or wanting to transfer now can see, all right, he's more willing to do it. The team sucks. I don't see like he has offensive mindset, but there's a lot of money in Louisville. And this is where I'm going to tie in the whole play development. You have these varsity players, veteran players, not freak athletes. He thinks he has freak athletes like he did when he was at UK, where Cal can just roll out that basketball and say, go play one-on-one basketball. We don't have that here. We have veteran players that learned at, their freshman, sophomore years under other veteran players how to run a system of plays. So if you want to be a one-on-one basketball kind of player where you freelance around, you got to do that later after you learn the game of basketball by running set plays. 5-man motion, you got to be able to run that. You got to be able to run how to go against a 2-3 zone, how to beat a full court press. You got to learn how to actually full court press, how to half court press, how to run a 1-3-1 the correct way, how to run a 2-3. I remember watching Louisville basketball, and you just get so excited seeing Russ Smith, Peyton Siva, Preston Knowles, seeing all the point guards up in the grill of the other point guard for full court. Like as soon as that ball's placed in bounds, like they are on you, and they're going to run you down and back, down and back. They don't care if they're tired for offense because they know they have a set play that they can run when they're dead tired because they know exactly what to do and where they're supposed to go. You have to be able to think a little bit. And I know he said he wants you to don't think so much out there, just flow. They can't do that if they don't know how to play the game of basketball. Just putting the ball on the rim is not playing basketball, man. That's putting the ball in the hole. Playing basketball is doing the fundamentals, setting a great screen, boxing out when you see a ball go in the air, keeping your man in front of you, staying down low, keeping your hands out wide, not reaching in for the ball, not going for every steal, but you got to think, you got to know, man, you got to have your instincts and just go for it. That's when instincts kick in when you do this repetitively. And, they're just not doing it right now. And he's trying to do this system. I think he's starting to learn it. Like, I can't just let these guys go out there and play, one-on-one basketball because we don't have those athletes like Cal has or like Cal's going to get next year. But positively, there is fight in this team. Last podcast, we were talking during the Syracuse game. We were up by 1 at halftime, but eventually lost by 1 at the end of regulation. There was a great fight in that game. Showed a lot of heart. We attacked when we were supposed to attack in that 2-3 zone, which Boeheim and that Syracuse 2-3 defense, right? That stuff is scary to play against. And if you don't know how to pass the ball the right way against that 2-3 it should have been, a 30-point blowout. But something clicked in their head that game. They knew how to pass the ball. They knew how to get it to the high post and kick it down, get a slasher or get the wide open three. They knew how to do it. Then you get the Wake Forest game, which was just a couple of days later on Saturday this past weekend. At the 8-minute mark in the first half, the score was 29-9 Wake Forest. At this point, I turned it off. I was like, I don't want to watch this, man. I'm getting tired of hearing Kenny Payne say this and that about, these guys need to be loved up and they're learning. Dude, it's game 16 and we're down by 20 with 8 minutes to go in the first half. That's unacceptable. But he must have gave one heck of a halftime, speech, because he talked to him and we fought back and we should have won that game. But, I'm seeing it. I'm just not seeing it for 40 minutes, which even with Kentucky at their best or any team at their best, you're not going to always get 40 minutes of excellence. But I want to at least see it for 25, 30 minutes. And,
it's in spurts. It's not consistent like you want, but you are seeing the fight.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the fight in, the guys playing for Kentucky last night. I mean, the fight's there. These guys are on both teams digging down, getting into it. At some point it's gonna click. Your season pretty much. Both the seasons are pretty much done for now.
Yeah. Man, we're hitting historic numbers in the wrong way, and the heart's there, the fight's there most of the time. It's just common sense is what I need with that hard fight. JJ Traynor, man, he had great moments in the game against Wake Forest. He had a nice rebound off a missed free throw, and he did a reverse dunk to get an and one. And I was like, yes, sir, JJ Traynor, that's what we need. That's what we need, man. And he didn't play bad the rest of that game. Or at least he didn't do anything too bad to where I was like, dang it, JJ. But we need that, man. And L. Ellis is getting better. He is getting better. His turnovers are cutting down. His assists are going up. He's starting to. I seen him yelling. I told you in the last podcast, I need him to yell more. Not yell, but be more vocal as a leader. And you can see him doing that. He was like, dude, no, you need to cut. You need to come to the ball. You need to do this. He's being vocal. It's kind of like what Oscar said. He needs some dogs out there with him. He can't be the only dog with some puppies, man. I need some bulldogs out there. We got birds out there ready to fly away.
One last thing. I think, what you're seeing with L and how he's moving into that more vocal leader role. Mm-hmm. And really when it comes down to it, I feel like, and you can probably attest to this, your best player is generally your locker room leader. Mm-hmm. And that's what you've got with L. Ellis. Well, my problem with Kentucky is, one, who is the best player? In my mind, it's Kasam Wallace. He doesn't strike me as someone that's going to be one to hold people accountable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that he looks soft, but
he's confrontational. He doesn't want to argue with you. He's just all right.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I think Kentucky comes down to, like, at some point, Oscar's a great guy. He's super nice, but at some point, he's going to have to start being an absolute asshole to get this point across. Some of these guys are going to need that point across, and someone's going to have to step up and hold each other accountable.
Exactly.
I've said that for years. My best teams are ones that hold each other accountable.
Yep.
Obviously, there ain't no one holding this damn team accountable. So, yeah, at this point, your season's kind of, you're not really fighting to hang on to anything. You're just fighting to fight and just, finish the season and try and finish with some positivity. So there ain't no reason not to play every single person to try and figure something out. Yeah. So
yeah, it's all good though. We'll keep the positivity going. We have another chance tonight against Clemson, 9 p.m. If you're tuning in later in the week, we are playing against Clemson. Clemson can be a scary team. We're actually on a 3-game losing streak against Clemson at Clemson. So hopefully we break it.
I think they're the last undefeated ACC team.
Yeah, 5-0. So if you go in there and you go down by 10, any other game, if this team goes down by 10, you think it's already over. But I really believe, like, with this Clemson team and how they're playing, if you go down by 10, I don't think there's a fight back in this game like we did against Wake Forest. I don't think there's a fight back. It's probably going to get bad. So, guys, go out there with some intensity, play hard. Ellis, keep the turnovers down. Sid Curry, go out there and be aggressive, man. Be aggressive. Be a linebacker out there. Be the bully. But going into football for Louisville, we had a huge weekend. I know Louisville lost in basketball, but we hit big in football when it came to commitments. We had a couple of our guys that are committed for the 23 class playing the All-American game. Pierce Clarkson was the starter for the West team. We had our DB, Aaron Williams, out there on defensive end for the West team. And then we also had Jamari Johnson, who committed with us in the second half of that All-Star game, which was huge because we kind of thought he was going to go to Cincinnati with Scott going over there, but he's seen where the better end will be, and that's with Brohm squad, and I believe he will really thrive. I seen him make a crazy almost one-hand catch at the end of the back of the end zone. Of course, it was out of bounds, but man, he has some athleticism, and the way our tight end room looks right now, he will get a lot of playing time. But the biggest commitment of the weekend will be the biggest commitment in Louisville history once he signs his papers, and for sure is here, and not just using this as a as a way to get more money. I hope he's not. But TJ Capper, five-star linebacker for the 24 class. So he won't be this coming year, but he'll be next year. There's still a lot of excitement for that because he's the second one to sign for the 24 class. The other one being four-star Isaac Brown. He's a running back from Georgia. So Brohm is he's booming. He kept a lot of the class that Scott had that we thought we were going to lose, but he kept them. Madden Sanker, he signed with us, If you see on our social media, we had it posted, Brohm squad, all the, players that we've had signed for 23 and 24 so far. So go on and click onto our Twitter page, Instagram page, Facebook. We have it up there. And of course, we'll have it on YouTube after we get finished recording. But, we didn't just stop with high school recruits. We went with the transfer portal. And another big one from the weekend, I think big for this year, is Kevin Coleman Jr. You may know him. He was a stud freshman receiver for prime time down there at Jackson State. This is huge for our receiver room because that's one place where we lacked was the receiver room. So it's huge to have him sign with us. We've had another receiver sign with us from Cincinnati. So he left Scott to come to us, and Jaden Thompson. And then we had another Georgia State, Jamari Thrash, and then we had offensive lineman and John Paul Flores from Virginia. So Brohm is booming right now. And the Brohm squad is, there's a lot of excitement, man. I talked to y'all about this in the text group that we have. I know the 12-team playoff isn't next year, and that was probably one of our best years to make it because we don't have Clemson in our way in the regular season. Our hardest matchups will be Notre Dame, which has Sam Howell now, the quarterback from Wake Forest. And then we have Miami at Miami. Those are, some tough matchups. Not to say any other game won't be tough. For sure, it's tough to go undefeated. We're not Georgia. We can't just sweep everybody. But I feel very excited about this squad and what we can do next year. So
Most definitely. And you got the momentum. You're rocking with it. I feel like both states of football programs can be feeling good right now, based off of what's going on this off season. So there's some positivity there, and I guess our last little segment here is going to be going over these first rounds of NFL. We got wild card weekend this weekend. Good Lord,
I'm excited for it. It's fun.
Yeah,
It's fun NFL football when it's playoffs.
fine when it's playoffs, and I mean it'd be more fun for you if your team made it, but it didn't, so I'm sorry. But mine did, so you can jump on the bandwagon for the playoffs if you want.
Yeah.
But we'll go through. We'll do a little pick 'em real quick, and we can go through these matchups. First one of the weekend, we've got Seahawks Niners at 4:30 on Saturday. Um, I'm rolling with the upset. I'm thinking. I'm just gonna pick Seattle. I think Seattle might be it. They made it. Geno's played good. I think I'm just gonna roll with the Seahawks.
Yeah, that's my key factor in the game, and we'll have some posts coming out about these games as well. But the Seahawks, their key factor in this game is Geno. That defense is scary. It has one of the lead interceptions leader on their team. He's tied with Justin Simmons from Denver for most interceptions this year. But that defense is scary. It's not like the Legion of Boom, but it's still pretty scary out there. But Geno Smith is going to have to play really well if they want to beat this team, because Brock Purdy and CMC, Nick Bosa, they're not going to let this game go away from them, especially at home. So I have the 49ers pulling it out. I hope Brock Purdy keeps it going, but we'll see. But I'm going with 49ers.
All right, you have 49ers. Let's roll. Saturday night game is Chargers and Jaguars. I think the Jaguars are riding high. I don't trust Brandon Staley as a coach or Herbert as a quarterback. I'm rolling with the Jags. What about you?
I'm go with you. I'm rolling with the Jags. They are pretty hot right now, and it just shows Urban Myers is not an NFL coach. But yeah, go Jags.
All right, and then moving on, Dolphins Bills Sunday 1:00. Tua's out. They're starting Skylar Thompson. I think this has Bills written all over it.
Yes, it does.
Not much to say about that one.
Miami started 8-3 and finished 8-8 or 8-9.
Something like that. The past 2 years they've started either really good or really bad and ended up with the same record at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So maybe it wasn't Brian Flores that was the problem. Maybe
the Bills got too much momentum right now. DeMar's out of the hospital, thank God. So they got some momentum going for them, man. They're good.
4:30 Sunday game, Giants Vikings. That's an intriguing matchup. Vikings started out hot, don't look too hot now. Giants were able to rest their starters last week, but also give the Eagles a kind of run for their money while the Eagles were trying to get that 1 seed locked up. I'll let you take this one because I need to think for a second on who I'm going to take on this one.
So we got the Giants. Giants and who again?
Vikings. Giants
and Vikings. I'm gonna go with Vikings. I just watched them. Went to my first Chicago Bears game this past weekend and watched the Vikings. I mean, it's the Bears, but I've seen the Vikings and what they can do. They got the rest of their starters, so I'm going Vikings here.
Vikings. Man, I'm just rolling with some upsets. I really think the Giants might be able to do it. I mean, Brian Daboll's looking good. Saquon stayed healthy all year. Daniel Jones isn't maybe as bad as we thought.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm just rolling with some positivity and some optimism just to see some upsets this weekend. Last game of Sunday, 8:15, Ravens Bengals rematch of Week 18. Mm-hmm. I'm rolling with the Bengals. Lamar seems to be out. Doesn't look like he's going to play. I mean, there's just all the makings to go ahead and move on with this one.
Yeah, Lamar is out, so that's where all my fandom for the Ravens, that's out the window right now. I mean, I'm not going to cheer against them, cheer for them. I'll let my emotions go whenever that game starts. But yeah, I got the Bengals winning that one, man.
All right, last game, last minute here, guys. We're going Cowboys and Bucks on Monday Night Football. I'm not betting against Tom Brady in the playoffs, so I'm going to roll with the Bucks. What do you think?
Cowboys, man. I'm going Cowboys. Tom Brady, greatest quarterback of all time, and I know it's probably disrespectful, but I think Dak, I hope he can get it together, man. I want to see the Cowboys do something.
Cowboys do something. All right. Well, everybody, so that is it for this week. You've got our picks here for Wild Card Weekend. We'll be back to recap those. Thanks for tuning in and listening. Check out John has spun off with if you're into WWE, everything wrestling, Cheap Pop Wrestling Podcast. It's going to be available on YouTube every Saturday, I believe. It's on Instagram. Connected to our Instagram page under following, who we follow. Check all that out for your wrestling entertainment news. Other than that, thank you for listening. We'll be back on next week. Recap all these picks. Move into another week. Kentucky and Louisville news, more NFL news. And we got some more exciting stuff still in the works for you, so be checking us out on that. Drizzy's out.
Thank you all for listening. And if you don't have us followed on social media, I'll have all of those accounts down below. So please click on it, subscribe, follow. We love making this content for you all. So thank you. We appreciate you all and excited for 2023 with everybody. Tstalls out.